Hi guys, this is Michelle, high performance coach and Mish. In this video, I want to talk to you about fears. Why do you think so many people in our society hesitate towards making a bold decision? Why do you think so many people are scared of making the right choices or even taking a plunge towards the direction of the goal? The answer is fear. Now understand this. Danger is real. Danger is very, very real. Like for example, thousands and millions of years ago, when human species and the deadliest animal in the jungle were living in the same civilization, there was always a fear to be eaten alive by the deadliest animal in the jungle. So we had to be alert every time there's a rustle in the grass so we can protect ourselves and other tribe members, because there was always a real danger to be beaten by the deadliest and the most poisonous spider in the jungle. COVID-19 is a real danger. It has already affected millions of people across the globe, and thousands of people, around 280,000 people, have succumbed to this deadliest virus. So if we are not going to follow the guidelines, you're gonna put yourself and other people in the society at the jeopardy, right? But fears are most of the times, the fears that we are feeling on a regular basis is nothing more than the bad management of our mind. The problem, fear seems to dictate the decision that we make in our life, because we never actually question the authenticity of that fear. We never question the source of that fear. We never ask ourselves how much truth is hidden in that fear. Now, one thing you need to understand about fear is human beings are only born with two kinds of fears. Number one is fear of loud noises, and number two is fear of falling. All the other fears that seem to consciously or subconsciously running our lives are borrowed fears. And here's the thing about borrowed things that you borrow from someone and you don't give it back, that becomes yours. So fears that you're not going to question, you're not going to question the authenticity of the fear, that becomes your belief system. And that's how you're going to make the rest of all the decisions of your life. Just because you are feeling some emotions, just because you are feeling something, doesn't mean that is actually the sign of the universe for you not to pursue something that is really close to your heart. The most paralyzing of all the fear is fear of the future. I remember when I was in school, I was petrified by giving exams, because I had wrapped my entire identity around my grades. I thought if I don't do good in schools, if I don't get really good grades, I won't be able to get into the good college. And if I won't be able to get into the good college, no one is going to hire me. And even if I get my foot in the door, they're not going to pay me well, and I'm always going to be cash strapped. I'm always going to be dependent on my parents for the financial resources. I won't be able to provide for myself and my family. I'm always going to struggle. But when I actually got into the workforce, I basically realized that I have seen people who basically dropped out of the schools and the colleges, and they're making millions and millions of dollars. They are doing really, really well in their life. But people who were geniuses in the schools and the colleges and the universities, and people thought that these guys are absolutely going to rocket the moment they graduate. These guys are gonna be the movers and shakers of the world. They're struggling. They are the exact same people that were 10 years ago or 15 years ago, right? So when your mind is always in the future, calibrating things that could go wrong, that is going to affect your plan of actions. You're not going to get any of those things done, right? I was petrified my future so much that affected my grades. The feelings that I was feeling when I was in school was always nauseating during the exams, panicking, anxiety pretty much all the time, and that ruined my time at the schools and colleges. I did not have a lot of fun in my school. I did not have a lot of fun in the college, because I always thought that my future is dependent on my grades. I wish someone would have told me and convinced me that your grades is never going to dictate how much money you are going to make in the future. right? Now, so many people do not start their passion project, or they start their own business because they think if they make one mistake, everything has to be perfect. And if they make even one mistake, that could jeopardize and sabotage their career. And that is so wrong on so many levels. And the reason people are so scared taking a plunge towards the direction of their goal, because they think if they fail, people are gonna put them into some kind of a category. Their best friends are going to be ashamed of them. Now they don't want to hang out with them. The parents are going to be disappointed, and people are going to judge their process. People are going to point fingers at them and stuff like that. And they might be true, but understand one thing: it doesn't matter how big of a mistake you're going to do running your business. There are still going to be some people in your life who's going to love you no matter what. Now, as I said that, thousands and millions and millions of years ago, when human beings, human species, and the wildest animal in the jungle were living in the same civilization, one mistake, one error in judgment can cost you your life. Now that is not true in this day and age. It doesn't matter what kind of mistake you're gonna do, you still have a choice to show up completely differently the next day. The underneath of all these fears and insecurity is basically they do not want to be embarrassed, or they do not want to feel insignificant or incapable, or do not want others to think that they are not enough. Now, get this. If you're going to do something for the first time, you're going to suck at it. You're going to suck at it bad. Right? And people are going to have the opinions about your path, the path that you are taking. Sometimes your own parents are not going to understand your dreams, your goals. Sometimes your best friends, people you always hang out with, they're going to question your decisions, your way of doing things. And that's okay, because they had their own belief system. The way they make the decision is based on what they believe in as well. Understanding the reason you are thinking about the way you are thinking is because the God has planted that seed in your heart. The reason your mom and dad, your friend, your spouse, your sister do not think about your goal the way you think about is because the God has selected you to breathe life into that thing. Right? So it is okay that people are not understanding your way of doing things. And here's the thing about opinions, right? Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone is entitled to have an opinion. Now, just because someone has an opinion about your way of doing things, just because someone criticizes your efforts, right, doesn't mean that's a permanent opinion. The moment you start getting the traction, the moment you start achieving the momentum, and the moment you start winning, they're going to change your opinion. They're going to change your opinion about you. Someone else's opinion of you doesn't have to be your reality. And if you're always going to wrap your self-esteem, self-identity around other people's support, other people's validation about your goal, about your worthy idea, then you're always going to disappoint. That you are always going to disappoint yourself. You're never ever going to achieve what you really want to achieve, because it doesn't matter what you do, you're always going to disappoint someone. Right? The other fear people have is the fear of rejection, and again, that's paralyzing fear. I see this so many times in the world of business. People do not show up in their role or in their business fully because they're scared of taking rejections. They think that rejection is going to destroy their image in the market, and that's why they don't make as many calls as they should make. They don't see as many clients as they should see on a weekly basis, because they think just because someone is going to say no or someone is going to reject the idea, that means that their pursuit is not worthy. Understand this thing. Just because you're passionate about an idea doesn't mean that everyone else is passionate about your idea. We covered that in the first point, right? People are going to have an opinion about you. People are going to criticize you and stuff like that. Just because someone is saying not interested, number one, that doesn't mean that it's a permanent no. People change their mind all the time. Just because they are saying no right now doesn't mean that they're not going to say yes in 3 months down the track. That doesn't mean that they're not going to say yes in 12 months down the track or 5 months down the track. Okay, and let's say it's a no for sure. That's okay, because I want to do business with people who want to do business with me. I'm not trying to convert every human on this planet Earth, right? And every time I'm getting a no, every time I'm getting punched in my mouth, every time I'm receiving a rejection, I'm actually getting closer to that one yes, that one client who really want to do business with me, right? So you have to see your problems completely differently. Otherwise, you're gonna talk yourself into believing something that is not going to serve you at all. Sometimes people do not take bold and courageous decision, or they feel massive levels of hesitation to take their life to the whole new level. Sometimes people wouldn't mind staying in the same toxic environment because they have this massive fear that if they take a different decision, and what if that decision really doesn't work out the way they envision and they have to go back to the same place, people again going to ridicule them. People are going to question their decision making and stuff like that. People fear regret, so they don't take the bold decisions. Sometimes people are in a toxic relationship, or let's say they are surrounded by toxic people. Instead of finding new people, like-minded people, they decided to stay within the same circle. At least they know the devil's in the circle. They always fear that what if they leave the existing friends or existing circle or existing company? What if the new company has the same toxic culture? The manager makes that person's life hell and they have to come back. What if they leave their existing group of people they usually hang out with and they couldn't find the new people? They're gonna be alone. Sometimes people do not follow the diet because they think that then they're gonna miss that. They're gonna regret not having the exact same lifestyle. They're probably gonna miss that 10 minutes of sleeping. They're gonna miss their old eating habits, so they never actually take the plunge and make a decision that is going to change the course of their lives. Understand this. We all have one life. We all have one life. One day we all gonna be dead. Okay? The goal of the life is when we are laying on a deathbed, when we are counting our last days, there has to be a smile on our face. The reason we have a smile on our face because we made the right decisions over a period of time. We took the risk, even though we did not have the right education, even though we had massive insecurities, even though we had massive fears, even though we had all the disadvantages and shortages to begin with. We took the plunge. We trusted the process. We made some mistake, but then we gained a massive levels of experiences, and based on those experiences, we made the right choices. Right? We showed up in the world the right way, and that's why we have a smile on our face, that we lived a full life. Okay? So you have to give yourself a permission to make mistake. What if things don't work out? That's okay if things don't work out. You're still gonna have few people in your life who are going to love you no matter what, right? You have to allow yourself to make mistakes. That's the part and parcel of making the right decision. Sometimes people are scared out of their mind to take on more responsibilities. They never want to apply for a promotion because they think if they apply for a promotion, they're going to have to look after more people. They're going to be responsible for more things. They have a fear of success. So they convince themselves to live a limited life. They never want to start their own business because they think if they start their own business, they're going to have to learn all these other skills, and they probably won't be able to keep up with the pressure. When I started my business, there are so many things that I had to learn. I had to learn digital marketing. I had to learn how to create a content, how to create a blog. It took me so much of time to come up with one piece of content. I had to teach myself how to edit the videos. In the beginning, the recording video was extremely excruciating process for me. It was not natural. I was not natural on the camera, right? It would take me so many takes to put together one good piece of content. But again, I know that if you do something for the first time in your life, for the first few years, you're probably gonna suck at it. You're gonna suck at it bad, but you are going to get better with practice. I remember when I bought my first car, I was really, every time I had to take my car on the road, I was anxious. I couldn't do two things at once. While I'm driving a car, even though I had a Bluetooth in my car, I couldn't speak on the phone. I couldn't listen to radio while I'm driving. I had to be all focused while I'm driving, right? And 6 months into it, I wouldn't even realize once I get to the destination, right? The practice and repetition is gonna make you better over a period of time. At some stage, you're gonna have to take on more responsibilities. And underneath of all these insecurities, all these fears, if people really don't want to feel insignificant, people do not want to feel that they're incapable, right? There are so many people in business. As a matter of fact, in India, so many students are sort of committing suicide because they think if they do not get good grades, they're gonna feel insignificant. People are gonna take them for granted. They do not see a brighter side of their life. So many people in our society are actually committing suicide, like students, and it is really unfortunate. They think that if they do not get really good grades, really good grades in school, that their future is ruined. Understand this, that's okay. If you do not get a good grade in your assignment, in your exam or even final exam, something happens with you and then you fail your exam, that's okay. Your grade is not going to decide how much money you are going to make in the future. The moment you step into the workforce, you realize that your degree is only going to help you get your foot in the door. It's not going to dictate how many successes and wins you're going to have along the way, how much money you are going to make, what kind of legacy you're going to create. I have, as I mentioned in the beginning, I have seen people who really literally drop out of the schools, high school, had no formal education, and they're living a full life, right? And I've seen people who are academics, they're doing really good in the schools, they're struggling, right? So these are the 4 fears we need to be really aware of. The fear of the future, fear of rejection, fear of regret, and fear of taking on more responsibilities.